Okay, so thank you. So I hope I'm audible to everybody. So I was telling you in the previous class that I'll discuss about the brinjal history and origin, because even those aspects are very important, because some basic questions like in which century it came. I leave about
Not audible, no.
about brinjal. I have already told you that it is a non-tuberiferous species. So besides the Solanum melangina, the species called Solanum muricatum, Solanum cutoens, and Solanum sessiflorum are commonly grown in Central and South America region, whereas the Solanum macrocarpon is grown in the eastern part, means Southeast Asia, and the Solanum ethiopium, Solanum gilo, macrocarpon are grown in African countries. So the non-tuberous solanum species that are grown in the world can be said as those which I listed now, all were non-tuberiferous solanum species. Okay. Coming to brinjal, so the subgenus we know that Solanum. Subgenus is Leptostenomum. So even potato belongs to the subgenus Leptostenomum. Okay, so that's why now brinjal belongs to the subgenus Leptostenomum and section Melangina, family Solanaceae, subfamily Solanoideae, and tribe Solanae. So even the subfamily, family, all these you can see that they are common for tomato and others also. And nextly, there are both tuberiferous and non-tuberiferous species in the genus of Solanum, where potato Solanum tuberosum is a tuber-bearing species that is tuberiferous, whereas brinjal Solanum melangina is a non-tuberiferous species. So there, I have already discussed that in within Solanum melangina also there are three different varieties. That is Solanum melangina variety esculentum, means round or egg-shaped cultivars. Solanum melangina variety serpentum, means long and slender varieties, and Solanum melangina variety depressum, means dwarf varieties. So this I have already told you in previous class also. When talking about to the non-tuberiferous Solanum species, they are grown abroad, not mostly in India. Most of the other ones like Ethiopium, Anomalum, Gilo, Incanum, Macrocarpon, Nigrum. So depending upon the location, there is a wide number of species. In Solanum, the African Solanum species, there are many like Ethiopica, Gilo, Olevaria, Ethiopium. So there are many different based on the means American region, Asian region, African region. So there are many species that are grown. So there are about 28 non-tuberiferous solanum species found that are grown in India. In case of India, there are 28 non-tuberous solanum species in India. That is Aculatatium. There are many. I list that is waste, but some important ones I will tell you: Sicimbrifolium, pubescens, nigrum, xanthocarpum, torvum, and others which you. These are all insanum, trilobatum, gigantum, Blueophyllum. There are many species. So the total there are 28. More, some of them you might have heard, some you might not have heard also. So all these 28 have edible fruits, and this species, so Melangina variety Insanum, Torvum, and Trilobatum, there are mostly cooked ones. So among the 28, these three, that is variety Insanum, Torvum, and Trilobatum, are mostly cooked and eaten in the up North Indian states. Okay, that mostly the peninsular region part. So the species Solanum incanum, not insanum, incanum, which is thought to be the progenitor. So the species Solanum incanum, which is distributed throughout India, particularly in the west of the Shivalik ranges. of the Himalayan regions of the south. Okay, South Himalayan regions and Western Himalayan regions, this Solanum incanum is widely distributed, and it has more variability in the Tarai regions. Whereas the Solanum indicum, which occurs most commonly in the southern and eastern regions, so the incanum, next is indicum, and next coming to the Solanum variety insanum. So why I am telling, you may think this is not, no, they will not ask in exam, but in case when they ask you the history and evolution of brinjal, you have to write each species, where it is prevalent in which region of the country. Mainly in the eastern and southern parts, and in the eastern peninsular regions, there are several cultivated species called as Pottangi type of Solanum melongena. So I am just telling all this because in some point of time when you're doing something, you should be known that yes, I have heard this term Pottangi, I have heard this term Torvum, I have heard this term Hispidum. So all these are the different species or types of brinjal. At least you might not memorize everything, but you should know that these things are also there in brinjal. These are the different species. You have to have an idea of it. So you might not be able to memorize it. You need not also just to have an idea that these species are there. You should know them. Okay. And the Solanum suratens, which is also called as Solanum xanthocarpum. Xanthocarpum is a more familiar name for us. Suratens, we have rarely heard. So this is a species that is present widely all over the country in India in the warmer regions. Even Solanum torvum is present in all over the parts of the country except the desert areas. So the important uses of non-tuberiferous Solanum species, other than the melongena anyhow we consume, other than that we are talking, in which the fruits, leaves are also eaten. So leaves of Noduliflorum, Duclocinatum, blumei are used. Fruits of Anomalum, Erythracarpum, Indicum, Insanum, Muricatum, Cutoens, these are all eaten. And leaves and fruits both are eaten in Ethiocarpum, Gilo, Incanum, Macrocarpum, Nigrum, Americanum. So there somebody asked you, can we eat the leaves of brinjal? You will say, oh no, maybe psilocybin content and all will be there. We won't eat, you will tell. You should never feel that why some people are speaking like now you are listening to me and thinking so many species, this is not important to me. It is important you identify that there are some edible leaves are also edible in brinjal for some species. Fruits are also edible. In some species, both fruits and leaves are edible. You have to know, you should know when you read a crop that, okay, this thing also happens. You need not remember them. You need not remember everything. Newspaper you read, you remember everything? No, you just read and you get to know. You just improve your knowledge. No, in similar way, it's you just take the history part like that, because history is the evolution and all for every crop is very important, but we feel, oh, it's not so interesting, it is not no, a lot of species is given, so it is not important. Maybe you will just neglect like that. So that should not be there. Okay. Nextly, coming to history, we all know that brinjal is a native of India and China is the secondary center of origin. And there are 33 Sanskrit names for eggplant in Indian literature. And in Sanskrit, I have last class also mentioned that it is called as Vartaka, Bhantaki, and Vattingan. So these Vartaka, Bhantangi, and Vattingan are nothing but the synonyms in Sanskrit for brinjal. In Amar Kosha, brinjal has been mentioned as Bhartaker, Hilgal, Bhandi, Singhi, and Duspradarshini. So these are all the different names that have been given in Amar Kosha. Okay, in that particular script of Amar Kosha, the different names called Bhartakar, Hilgal, Bhand, Singhi, and Duspradarshini have been mentioned. And the first record of eggplant in India came in the 300 BC to 300 AD, while in China it was described about just 500 years ago. So where in China is called the secondary center of origin, but it was just discovered 500 years ago only. Whereas India, it is been mentioned, the first record of brinjal has been mentioned in 300 BC to 300 AD. And where in China 500 years ago it has come, no, perhaps in 6th century AD, or that is nothing but even in this, why I have written like this, perhaps, okay, sorry, I wrote something and I confused. Okay, even it was cultivated in Africa before the Middle Ages, around 9th century AD, and in Europe in 15th century, and different Spanish, England, and all, they were grown in 17th century. Okay, means very recently. And in USA and all, they started growing in 20th century, and it was actually but it was grown prior also, but it was grown as ornamental only. Until 20th century in USA and all, it was grown before also, but as only ornamental, but not for edible purpose. So here you can understand that brinjal is in India since a very long time. Other countries have just got to know it just 500 years ago, 1000 years ago, like that only. Okay, and coming to the domestication, so Solanum incanum, which is the wild species, which is a very widely distributed in India, Africa, and Southeast, Middle East countries. So incanum is the progenitor, we all know. So Solanum incanum, Solanum melangina and other species have been reported to come from that incanum only. And before the directly, Solanum melangina did not come from Solanum incanum. In between, we had this semi-wild weedy form called as Solanum insanum. Okay, so this Solanum insanum, insanum was a semi-wild weedy type. So the species of Solanum melangina variety insanum are even now grown as semi-wild types in India and Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries. Okay, based on the different enzymatic electrophoretic studies, they have given that Solanum incanum, from Solanum incanum, Solanum insanum has come, and from which the Solanum melangina has come. So during this period of domestication, mutation, natural crossing, intercrossing, selection, human selection, hybridization have brought extensive genetic variation within this Solanum melangina. The heterostyly that is present in Solanum melangina cultivars have also helped in genetic diversity through the partial cross-pollination occurring in the nature. Even though it is considered to be autogamous, the heterostyly nature is also present. No? So we humans and nature has been making selection on heterostyly also. So maybe we don't know previously how many types of styles used to be there, but now we have 4 types. So this is also based on selection. And even in natural selection, what happens? The long style, because it has long style, it has more diversity because it could have easily crossed with somebody, and it has different forms. So even the heterostyly of the plant has also helped in creating this diversity, not only the human selection. Okay, if it was a self-pollinated crop, you will not find, means it is often cross-pollinated. If only like in tomato, if it was, there are species in tomato also which are cross-pollinated, which are self-incompatible. But here you have another chance of heterostyly, because of which the diversity, there's a high diversity that has been developed in the cultivar, like in the population. Okay, and even now Solanum melangina occurs in wild, semi-wild forms in India, particularly in the northeastern regions, including the Odisha, West Bengal parts. Okay, the primitive characters of the species is a tall plant having large leaves, presence of spines on them, and this persistent calyx. Flowers generally in clusters, and generally andromonaceous nature In case I'm talking about the primitive characters, means the basic, means how initially brinjal plants used to be there. It was pakka, it was for sure that it should have spines on it, large leaves, and andromonoecious flowers used to be there in clusters. Okay, and also bitter taste was also there, hard skin, thick skin, more number of seeds. These are all characters of the primitive brinjal plants. So as the improvement in characters resulted in the development of the dwarf plants, small leaves, absence of spines, perfect flower. Perfect means hermaphrodite flower, solitary flowering, purple, white flowers, round fruits, bitter free fruits. These are all came from the selection. Okay. So in the present day, the eggplant, the fruit color varies from light to dark purple, and sometimes it is almost black color, green color, white color, and light green with white streaks. These are different diversity of fruits that you see in the present day, and different sizes and shapes you can find, that is round, oblong, ovoid, egg shaped, elongated. The length of the fruit varies even from 4 centimeters to 45 centimeters, means very long fruits. And the thickness of the skin, the thickness varies from 2 to 35 centimeters. You can see how wide, how much of diversity is there. Okay, and the weight of the fruit ranging from 15 grams to 1.5 kg, one fruit. That much of diversity is present. The fruits now, which we also have solitary bearing ones and cluster bearing ones. So the mature ripe fruits become brown or yellow in color, unlike the allied species Solanum incanum, in which the young green fruits at maturity change to orange or orange red. So here you can understand that all the brinjal except the Solanum incanum, which is the ancestor, except that in all others, after the maturity is attained, the fruit ripens, means the fruit justice. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello. Now it is on. Hello. Hello. Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So what happens, except for incanum, others all the fruits will become yellow from green or purple or whatever color they are. They become yellow. Okay. And then they ripe. But this incanum, the fruits will become orange and reddish orange. So in India, there is a lot of there is a lot of regional preference when it comes to the fruit size, shape, and also the based on the curry that we want to prepare, we have the different variations. For one, some bharta, we want some other kind of, and some, for wangi bhat and all, we want other shape. So there are different shape preferences based on the curry that you want to make also. And next is interspecific compatibility of Solanum melangina with other non-tuberous Solanum species. So when you come across the interspecific crosses also, you might or interspecific grafting also, we see more in case of brinjal only. Yeah. So this cultivated Solanum melangina is crossable and produces fertile hybrids with Solanum incanum, indicum, ethiopium, xanthocarpum, macrocarpum. It can cross and it can produce seed with all this. And somatic hybrids are produced when Solanum melangina is crossed between Solanum cicimbrifolium and Solanum torvum. Okay. And in a cross between Solanum melangina and Solanum hispidium, a hybrid that is partially fertile is produced. Amphi-diploid fertile hybrids were also obtained when a cross between Solanum melangina torvum and Solanum integrifolum was done. So Solanum melangina into torvum, Solanum melangina into integrifolum, when you do, you have also got amphi-diploid fertile hybrids. So mostly with few seeds or anyhow, you will get, that means they're mostly crossable, Solanum melangina and other species. Okay, it was found easier to cross Solanum integrifolium with Solanum melangina as female parent than the reciprocal. Not only in Solanum integrifolium, but mostly Solanum melangina or the cultivated form is mostly used as female only. Okay, because from female only we get the cytoplasm, but and female will be such a cultivar that is domesticated. So, and also in a cross, they have found that Solanum melangina, when used as a female, performs better. Okay, next is coming to the cytology. The chromosomes of Solanum melangina, that is 2n equals to 2x equals to 24, have been assigned into the 12 linkage groups here also. And chromosome aberrations, chromatid bridging, and all have many univalents, etc., have led to the development of different means they have been observed in case of different brinjal species. So not there are a lot of chromosomal aberrations or substitutions or different chromosome structures have been observed when it is like 2n equals to 2x equals to 24. Chromosome number is same, but the structure and form variations have been observed in case of brinjal. And next is genetics. Coming to the genetics, I have already told you that when there is a lot of this much of genetics means what, how it is inherited, how one character is inherited is nothing but it's genetics. Okay, so what does the genetics means? The different variability in case of leaf size structure is present. No, then similarly different genes might have also been acting. Some of the characters will be monogenic inheritance, some with governed with 2 or 3 complementary genes. So this all, if you take a textbook, you will see that what are the genes, what are the gene symbols, how many genes control one particular trait, you will understand. Okay. And I have already mentioned that International Plant Genetic Resources Institute, IPGRI, Rome, Italy, has assigned responsibility of brinjal germplasm collection to National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, NBPGR, New Delhi, India. As India is the primary center of origin for eggplant, it has wide diversity that is mostly spread in the regions of Eastern Ghats, Northeastern regions, and regions including Odisha and all. So even today, several land races and local types of brinjal actually exist in various parts of the country, but we don't know or we have not yet have exploited it. So these exploration programs have been undertaken by this NBPGR in collaboration with the IPGRI, that is International Plant Genetic Resources Institute, Rome, Italy, in different regions of India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, because it is Indo-Burma is the origin. So the eggplant germplasm, 2,531 lines and 337 wild Solanum species have been reported to now as, but there are many important land races that are there. Like in central India, that include Buldekhand Desi, which is a drought tolerant one. Dhundian Bengan, which is a cluster bearing white brinjal. Ramnagar Bengan, maybe if somebody is from the local of that area only, I may be pronouncing them wrong also, I don't know. So this Ramnagar local is a large fruited green color one, and Jetuva Bengan for summer season, Kuch Bachia Bengan, small cluster bearing. So there are varied local races present. So there are at least 93 local brinjal cultivars being grown in India. Not this only as Azad Kranti and all kind of thing, but there are 93 local brinjal cultivars that have been reported also. So this was about the brinjal history that I told you that I'll cover in the next class, that is today's class. Next is chili. I will not start chili because I will start in the next class. I will not do it now. I will end this class here. Actually, I can stop this, I think. You will receive a small notification and the cloud recording is ready. Okay. I don't know.